Hey, happy Friday. Thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon. Congratulations, you made it to the almost weekend. You made it to the end of the work week. We are getting ready for that weekend. Pretty quiet on Saturday, very active on Sunday. So storms return to the plains on Sunday. So this is late Sunday into Monday, an all hazards event here. We'll talk about what that means in just a few minutes. Sara meanders in the Caribbean. So it's kind of hanging out in the Caribbean through the weekend, but it gets closer to the U.S. Tropical storm right now, getting closer to the U.S. by early next week. What about the strength as it gets closer to the U.S.? What kind of impacts will it have? We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. After that, we have a big cool down coming. Get ready for some winter-like weather. Get your jacket and your sweaters out because you're going to need them next week. Now, yesterday was pretty quiet. You can see that we've got some showers and storms out to the east yesterday. No hazards to report from what we saw yesterday. Very quiet weather. Really nice out there. Rainfall totals. A little bit more impressive out to the east and out to the west, but the center of the U.S. staying dry and warm as well, okay? Those temperatures are above average all the way through the plains and then off to the Midwest, below average in places like California and into the Pacific Northwest, and then right about average, if not just a slightly, a few degrees cooler than average as we go out to the east into places like the Carolinas. But we've stayed above average through the plains and through the Midwest the last few days. That is all changing next week. Let's take a look at your current conditions. A little bit of cloud cover farther out to the east, but current conditions here in Oklahoma, very, very nice. It was a gorgeous day yesterday across Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. Another great day today. Try to get outside and enjoy this nice weather before it all changes next week. We've also got those showers and storms up in Maine, but other than that, dry and quiet as we head to the East Coast. We're getting a little bit of a break out to the Pacific Northwest. What we saw yesterday and the day before is that rain and snow. Now it's relaxing right now, however, that's going to change by tomorrow, okay? It's just kind of round after round of wet weather up in places like Washington, Oregon, Montana, and Idaho. Taking a look at your current temperatures, we've got the 60s, just gorgeous weather through Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, even down to Texas. Not too hot, not too cold, in the upper 60s. A little bit cooler farther off to the west. That's where they're getting that rain right now and snow. Look at that snow that's coming into places like Nevada and Idaho right now. Now we get a break for the most part today. It's not raining or snowing as heavy as it has been over the last few days. But look to the west, you can see that we've got more rain coming in, and that is going to push through on Saturday, okay? Other than that, pretty quiet across the U.S. today. No severe risk today. All of those showers and storms that we saw in the Carolinas yesterday has now moved off to the east. So it looks like a gorgeous fall day. Get outside and enjoy that nice weather. Let's talk about the severe risk. I think we're going into Sunday now. Saturday first. There's your rain out in the northwest. Other than that, dry, clear, pretty across the U.S. Okay, for the most part, we're not too worried about storms. You may get a little bit of lightning and thunder through the Midwest and northern Mississippi River Valley. Other than that, very quiet and very dry across the U.S. for Saturday. Now let's get into those storms. Sunday evening through the overnight hours, here's your risk. Hail sizes, I'm keeping small right now. However, I think that once we get more information over the next few days, we're probably going to increase this into that orange category. I didn't want to do it yet because we're still about 72 hours out from this event, but I do want to let you know what we're probably going to do as we get more information. If it warrants it, it probably will, to increase those hail sizes, especially in places like Fort Stockton and Abilene. I think that's when we're going to need to increase the likely hail size here. Other than that, some smaller hail, especially through the morning hours on Monday through San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, and even up to Oklahoma. Could we get that hail in Oklahoma City? I think as we get more information, we're probably going to have to make this risk a little bit wider to the north and include places like Oklahoma City, I-40, and portions of the Turner Turnpike. All right, taking a look at your max forecasted hail size. For right now, I'm going to go on the smaller size for hail. Could we get isolated up to ping pong ball sized hail? it's possible. Here's the thing, we're still, I mean, this is on Sunday and it's currently Friday, so we're still about 48 to 72 hours out from this event, so we don't have a ton of details. We're doing our best to give you as much details as we do have right now. High wind risk is also going to be a factor, especially as these storms really get going in the evening hours. So especially along that initial line, Fort Stockton, Abilene, and up to Fort Sill, I think we're going to have some pretty high wind with this. 65, 70, maybe up to 75 miles an hour. Overall, your severe threat Sunday night into Monday morning, we've got it in the medium category, mainly for large hail and high wind. These are going to be your most likely hazards. Could you see a few tornadoes from this? It's definitely possible. Here's the thing, and you'll see the radar in just a few minutes. Here's the thing with these storms. If you get a tornado out of this, it's at night and it's going to be raining. It's going to be very difficult to see tornadoes. So make sure that you have multiple ways to get those alerts. Flooding also going to be an issue, not only in those areas that I highlighted earlier, but that's going to go up well into Oklahoma as well. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Future radar, here you go. It's going to be raining in the afternoon on Sunday, on and off, not too worried about that. What we are watching for is whenever that jet stream and the intensity values increase as we go into Sunday evening, into the overnight hours, you're going to start to see some more yellows and reds pop up on this map. And then into early Monday morning, again, we just talked about that large hail, high wind, isolated tornadoes being the biggest risks here. Late Sunday into early Monday. Into Oklahoma, still some high wind and some flooding issues lasting even into the early morning hours. I know that we're not in the severe risk right now. If you look at the SPC, we are not in the severe risk on Monday, or Sunday night or Monday. However, I think by Monday morning, your morning commute, look at this, you're headed to work. It's still raining. I want you to be very careful. Make sure that you are watching the weather before you head to work on Monday morning. You're probably going to run into some flooding. However, that high wind, that hail potential can't be ruled out. Where are we seeing that flooding risk? As I mentioned earlier, farther up, well into Oklahoma, even into portions of southern Kansas. This is mainly on Monday. Monday morning into midday hours, I think, is whenever you're probably going to be dealing with the worst of the flood risk here. Ponding and flooding is possible on roadways, probably going to slow you down for that Monday morning commute. So give yourself plenty of time on Monday morning. Now this rainfall total graphic only goes out 72 hours, so it's not getting all of the rain that we're going to get on Monday. It only goes until noon. So I think these totals will be a little bit higher than what you see here. But we're up to 2 inches in Oklahoma, 2 inches in Wichita. Pretty good rainfall there. Pretty good rainfall. This is rain that's coming on top of an already record-breaking rainfall total month. November has already seen record-breaking rainfall totals, and we are just adding to that. We're just pushing that number up. Monday, I did mention that we're still going to see those storms. You see that kind of shifting to the east just a little bit into southern Oklahoma, and then into portions of, I think this does include Dallas now, and then just to the west of Dallas. All right, let's talk about Sara. Sara was upgraded to a tropical storm yesterday, officially another named storm for the Atlantic. This is in the Caribbean right now. Sara's not going to do much over the weekend. It's going to hang out in the Caribbean. It's going to bring tons of rain to Honduras, up to 30 inches of rain in this area. So we're expecting flooding and mudslides in this area. It will slowly track a little bit closer to Belize. This is the Yucatan Peninsula. These are a lot of your vacationing spots. These are your Cozumel, Playa del Carmen. You've probably heard of these areas. So this Sara will go across the Yucatan Peninsula. During that time, it's going to weaken. So after that, it may weaken to the point that it is no longer a tropical storm, maybe a tropical depression, maybe just a wide area of low pressure. So as that goes to the north, it's not strong at all. And then it's going into an area of a very high shear. So the likelihood that this is going to impact the U.S. in a significant way is very low. Some models, our spaghetti plots, are not loading here. You know, I looked at this graphic about 10 minutes ago. It loaded perfectly fine. Okay, well, here's the thing. I looked at this graphic, so I know where these spaghetti plots are going. What's going to happen is these spaghetti plots go up to the north, and then they try to turn back to the east as that cold front that's bringing us cold air up into Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska. That's pushing across to the east, turning Sara back to the east. Most likely, if we do see any impacts to the U.S., it'll be into the Florida Panhandle, maybe into the Big Bend area of Florida. Still, this will not be until between Tuesday and Thursday, so we've got a while until we really see those impacts. Most likely, the impacts will be minor, but you still have to watch out for that. And it looks like we may be having a data issue. We're not seeing any tropical wind shear either. We've got some really high wind shear, not good for tropical cyclone development in the Gulf. Do we have data for this? Okay, we've got data for this, maybe. Okay, just a reminder, guys, it is still hurricane season. Hurricane season goes until the end of this month, and we're still in the middle of this month. So we've got about 15 more days in hurricane season. You still have to stay weather aware. Looks like we've got data for future temperatures. So your future temperatures here are in the 40s and 50s by late tonight, 58 at 8 o'clock in November. We'll take it. Tomorrow morning, mid-50s here in Oklahoma City, getting a little bit colder out to the west with temperatures in the 20s and 30s. We've got some 60s mixing in down to the south here, but a lot of 40s and 50s for the most part tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, it looks like we're going to stay into the 60s as well. Look at that, clear divide between the western side of Kansas and the eastern side of Kansas. On one side of the state, we've got the mid-50s in Kansas City, really nice. The other side of the state, cold, into the 30s. So you can see that cold air attempting to work its way in. We're really not going to feel that cold air impact until we get to the middle of next week. So this is Wednesday into next weekend, the weekend before Thanksgiving. There could be a lot of traveling going on here. Here's what we're expecting. High wind is expected to move into the central and northern plains. On top of that, we've got some heavy snow that's expected in this area from Colorado all the way up to South Dakota. What does this mean? It could be some tricky travel in these areas. This is just a big heads up. We want to give you that heads up early so that you know how to plan for it. Make sure you're watching the weather next week because we could have some winter weather going on. Colder temperatures down into Texas and Oklahoma. Really, temperatures are going to be cold for this entire area, but what we're focusing on are those below average temperatures. Texas and Oklahoma, even colder, most likely going to be pretty below average from the western side of Oklahoma all the way down to the western side of Texas as well. What are we talking about here? We're talking about your daytime highs in the 40s. It's going to be cold. You're going to want that jacket all day long. That's next week. Of course, we'll give you more updates on that whenever it comes. But until then, make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We are actually live on TikTok right now, so if you like the behind the scenes, want to ask your weather questions, head over to our TikTok page. Give us a call if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map at 855-334-4245. Email us at info@hailtrace.com, or you can even head over to our website for more information on wind, hail, and tornado maps that we produce here. All right, thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon. Congratulations, you're just a bit closer to the weekend. We'll see you back here, same time, same place on Monday.